Welcome back, everyone, to the Rally Cry halftime show as we are into the thick of things here in our second series of the day between CLG Challengers and TSM Challengers, where CLG showed their true faith in terms of a strong start to a game, and what a game it was from them, really showing across the board, but Meech specifically having a standout performance, Joshi.
Yeah. I also, did anybody send you a clip of whether or not you actually said Rally Cry at the
Nobody
top
did
of the
send
last
me a
one?
clip there.
All right, well, we'll see. We'll have to go back. What was your question?
It wasn't a question. I was just talking about the series.
Oh.
The fact that Meech popped off, as
Yeah,
well as
Meech
the
did
whole
real
team
well.
of CLG.
Meech did real well in that last one. I do have to say, I don't want to see copies of Gragas again. It was very messy, but it was good enough. They were able to be a big body in front of Meech, and the way that they were still able to set up for Meech and Kevy was kind of enough to actually get them across the finish line. It really felt as though CLG was kind of a well-oiled machine when it came to setting up for fights.
Yeah, and I don't think we saw that strength. We were kind of setting up from that top side of the map. We did get some fisticuffs back and forth with Magical. Maybe a little bounce back needed for TSM in terms of cohesion there as well. I liked Fitzgerald going top lane early, just didn't pan out.
No, unfortunately, it wasn't able to pan out. And it was a nice look. It did make it so that Jenkins wasn't quite as threatening as he could have possibly been in that game. But really, the story has to be about the bot lanes, because we were talking about how well Meech was playing, but Neo was also looking like he was going to compete against them. The biggest factor had to be from Breezy, though, because Breezy was doing a great job of healing for Meech and making sure no one getting out on top of him. Well, DragCube doesn't have such liberties. He is the Rakan. He wants to engage. He wants to start off the fights for the team, but that then means Neo is completely by his lonesome.
Yeah. It is indeed. We'll see what TSMD can do to bounce back after that first game. Now, while we do got to have some fun here in our Rally Cry halftime show, we are in our anime training opening tournament, whatever you want to call it here. So I've gotten ourselves together a bit of a Superpower showdown, as I'm going to bring up a nice graphic I've made, by the way, Mazel GFX Productions coming after service.
Is it as good as
it's the wrong one.
Wrong
one.
This is the wrong one. Hold on. Let's see if I can fix it. If for some reason it didn't
right,
show
that's
up.
what I'm trying to say.
We have a huge market share.
There we go. There we go.
We're
now
doing an IPO
working.
soon.
There we go. We have it. All right. For some reason, my OBS was not having fun. So I have chosen 10 superpowers here that are typical in anime arcs, but as well as just superpowers in general. I've gotten some pictures to associate to them, and we've got our 10 players. Now, your guys' jobs are to divvy out these superpowers and give a reason why said player should have said superpower. You guys have any questions?
I do, yes.
Yes?
Why is Dox's picture slightly rotated?
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
It's not crooked. It is because there is,
science.
This picture, there wasn't necessarily here.
It is very much crooked.
Honestly, I have to say, Alex, this might be better than anything that I have done. Not only.
Oh wait, hold on. Oh no, it's on top of it. Okay, I can't get it. Anyways,
crooked,
don't look at the crookedness.
But also, you managed to find a photo of Dracu with his eyes closed.
Yeah, that's the photo on Leapedia.
I think that's better than what I could do.
A couple of photos had to get their shoulders chopped off here, as I don't have the actual photos of them. I had to go through Google. But get to the nitty-gritty, guys.
All right.
Who's going first? Who is giving out these superpowers? You got the elemental manipulation, all the elements. You got regeneration, shape-shifting, anti-magic. You got future sight, psychokinesis, super strength, illusions, and telepathy. Yeah, that's not a word. Telepathy and super speed.
Okay. Let's give super speed to DragQ.
All right. Is there a reason why?
He played Rakan. You got to go fast.
Okay.
He's the quickness.
He's going into light speed. I like it.
Quickness. Okay. I feel like we actually have to give illusions to Kevy, because even though he wasn't the one on the Wukong this last game, he does catch more people going after Wrong Monkey more than I think any of our other junglers. Right? He's actually been so good at making absolute buffoons of everybody else in the game. Buffoons.
Well, you get that illusionary tactic there from Kevy on CLG's side. Now let's go ahead and divvy out one. Where you got Magical?
Let's give future sight to Breezy.
Oh, okay. Why?
did you not see some of those handshakes? He's got to have future sight. He knew where Draft Q was going to be so many times.
Handshaking the future.
Yep.
I see. All right, give out our next one here, Joshi, and why?
All right. We're gonna say that Hanser is super strength. Partly because it's just him IRL, right? You know, he was the original,
you ain't wrong there, my friend.
He was the original flex offer with Steve earlier on.
This is true.
And also just kind of the fact that like it's just kind of the generic superpower of like all the leaders of teams, you know? It's just like they're just super strong, and Hanser is absolutely, if you listen to the other players on the team, they will usually say that it is Hanser and Svenskeren who are kind of leading the discussions, leading the team's self-review, and as the generic captain, I feel like Hanser has to have the generic superpower.
Okay. Well, he also fits my representation of super strength. Him and Set, one-on-one comparison. No big deal.
True.
Magical, what do you got now? Where are you looking at? You got telepathy, you giving out some anti-magic powers here?
Let's give a regeneration to Jenkins.
Ooh,
because,
okay.
You look at just how he's played, like the Warwick as well, constantly regenerating health when he should die. This game, where it's like, no matter how many times, you just get back up and be like, all right, I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm just going to stand in front of everyone.
Yeah.
Hey, Lennon, could you do me a favor and blow up the anti-magic picture? I can't tell what it is.
I can't tell what that is either.
You can't tell what it is, huh?
No,
well, then maybe you should watch some more anime, huh?
It's
just
also
saying.
like the colorization on that with the white background.
There's a reason for it. Because, it's from something that I don't necessarily want to reference, but it is a great show.
I'm sure.
You don't know that.
And you can't catch what that is. I can tell you what it is afterwards.
I don't recognize it.
You don't recognize it.
I don't recognize it either.
I've actually been watching less anime over the past couple years than I did previously. So somebody will recognize it.
I'll give you the information afterwards. But where are these last 5 going? We still got a little while to go, and we got to give out some of these more superpowers. Figure out where our matchups are.
These are the hard ones.
Yeah.
We're gonna give. It's my turn, right? We're gonna give telepathy to Meech.
Ooh,
that's a good one.
Future sight, telepathy, the Bali. That's a deadly duo.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing where it feels like he's just like on point, and I know he's relatively quiet in his comms. Like he doesn't actually speak a whole lot. As somebody who has listened to these guys talk, he's very silent but deadly. Like certain other things, and part of it is just he's on the synergy with the rest of his team.
All right, I like
that. He
just
knows.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. We'll see.
Definitely didn't call him a fart.
Definitely didn't. Absolutely not. Why would you ever do that? Now, Magical. What you got? We got 4 left.
All right, I'm going to give shape-shifting over to Copy because he has played so many different styles of mid lane and is constantly shifting how his play is.
Now we just need the Udyr from him.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. We just get that and then we're done. No, but like when we first got to know him when he was like on 100 next, he was playing far more of like the supportive champions and has been wanting to break out of that mold. So then he played more control mages. Then he played more of the carries mid lane. The Tryndamere dive that we saw last year, he's gotten a lot more styles about him than he once had.
I can appreciate that. Well, we're running out of time here, guys, so let's go ahead and quickly run through these last 3. Where are you giving these out? I got a suggestion here.
Anti-magic for Svenskeren.
Oh, okay. That wasn't where I was going to go with it, but let's hear your reasoning why.
All right, and the big thing is Svenskeren is, this hasn't been as true during this year. One of the big things he has had a lot of success with throughout his career is shutting people down on the other side of the rift.
Okay.
All right. Where do you got next? Elemental manipulation, psychokinesis for Neo or Doxa?
Let's go psychokinesis for Neo.
Oh, okay. Is he lifting up the powers that be, raising up the stakes?
Yes, he is.
Right. And then Doxa with the elemental manipulation. Do you have anything here? I know it's the last but least.
It's the one we didn't know where to place.
That's all you got.
Let me think. Doxa, elemental manipulation is a very cute superpower, and it is something that Doxa does a lot. He does a lot of cute things that are very cool and flashy, but don't really affect the game very much.
All right. Well,
every time they win, he always ends it with like some flashy play. It's like, that was cute, but like the game was already over. Like, cool.
So I do want to shout out the anti-magic sword that is Asta from Black Clover having the anti-magic sword.
No wonder I never watched that.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that.
Maybe a little bit less watched for sure. But love these matchups. The superpowers are on display. I know I'm looking at Hanser's super strength up there to try to pull something out. Maybe the anti-magic here for Svenskeren to pull back and get to a best of 3.
The top lane, Mundo versus Set.
Pretty. It's crazy how top laners ended up being the top laners. Kind of crazy how that works out, right? Wow, who would have known?
Wow, subliminal messaging.
It's crazy to go. But that is it for our Rally Cry halftime show. We are ready to get into our second game of our last series of the day. So, guys, take it away.
Thank you, Lennon. That was a fun bit. I actually really like that. The only one is like the elemental manipulation. I'm like, I don't know if anyone's this.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Who reminds you the most of Aang, I guess, is the biggest thing.
Oh, of Aang, or like if we had more Kiana played, maybe it would make it easier.
Yuji.
Yeah. See, if it was Yuji, then it would be easy. But we don't have that. We have this series on our hands right now. TSM Challengers, CLG Challengers. Swapping sides here, TSM taking the blue as we look at the bans. They haven't changed anything outside of that Grog is banned by CLG.
Yeah, and going into potentially the last game of the day, unless TSM is able to win it. It is worth noting that TSM now here on the blue side, one of the reasons why I'm expecting this to be good for them is because it's way easier to dive red side top laners than it is to dive blue side top laners because of your ability to go in towards that bush. You don't have to be as deep in your ways of moving around the map, and it is something that Hanser and Svenskeren can potentially use to punish Jenkins, right? Jenkins lost some of the early wave manipulation battle with Hanser and Svenskeren, was able to pounce on that right away. And as the Xayah comes through once again for Neo, I felt like Neo played pretty well. It was just a matter of the front line being unsure how aggressive they needed to be. Are they going to be pushing up? Are they going to be falling back? It's going to be Cho'Gath going over to CLG once again.
Cho'Gath picked up pretty early in this draft, so maybe Hanser not going to be back onto that Scion like we saw last time. It was the blind Scion, then the Cho'Gath answer. But still, the one that stands out to me is that Renata for Breezy that he played really well last game. So now that we get the Rakan for DragQ as expected, I'm looking towards what Breezy wants to play, and I'm expecting to just grab the Renata right here and boom, right away.
There you go. I mean, a very similar looking draft so far from both sides, just on the opposite side of the map, which can change a fair amount about how to play some of these early games. But we do see the Gnar ban coming through once again. This is definitely one of the most popular things, the most common things that Hanser has played throughout the course of their career. Not a big surprise that the ban will be coming through yet again. But as we start looking towards the last parts of the draft, it's again, Meech has a ton of tools to actually keep him safe in this upcoming fight, whereas on the other hand, Neo is kind of left to their own devices, as you will be seeing Svenskeren and DragQ going very far forward in order to try and find some of these engages, and that can really be the difference maker. Meech had so many tools surrounding him to keep him alive, keep him strong during the last fights.
I'm looking at TSM and what they could possibly change in their draft that might help them out a little bit more going into this game. Felt like they had those points that were working out well. The Scion into Cho'Gath matchup still going the way of Scion, just because you had that little bit of an assistance from Svenskeren to help that out. But I'm looking at this one, and I kind of feel like it'd be better to have Hanser on something with a little bit more agency on his own, so that way Svenskeren can play more around that bot side, like we've seen in the successes that TSM have gotten for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a spot where you kind of look at what Hanser can do. The Scion is a character that is very good at setting up, and Hanser has actually shown that his tank play has been quite good. But you need something, I think you need another threat on this team that will pull attention away from Neo so that they can be aggressive. But right now, as this comes through, it's really good against Xayah specifically, but not so exciting against either the Wukong or into the Rakan, at least in team fights. It actually can duel the Wukong if it gets the jump early on in the game, but other than that, it feels as though this is a bit of a surprising pick coming through for Kevy.
I feel like it's purely to stop Neo. It's purely to say, all right, Neo, you could have been a threat last game. You had a lot of agency in the game. Had it not been for Meech having these beautiful plays with Breezy defending him, it probably could have easily been flipped the other way. So that's why I think the Jarvan is purely as an answer to Neo to try to make his life that much more difficult. And as we look at the other things that are getting drafted by TSM, there's a lot of good choices for that Silas to take away ults of the hostile takeover. A fantastic ult to take away. Even the Cataclysm, something that can lock down, something that isn't mobile like that of Helios.
Yeah, and this is definitely a couple more threats coming up from TSM to try and pull attention away from Neo. But, oh, we get to see Copy's LeBlanc coming through. It's been a while since we actually had this one come out, going up against Doxa's Silas. And Doxa has been a player that has kind of struggled, as you said, trying to lane into a lot of these challengers mid laners. Copy on the LeBlanc isn't something we immediately think of, but is something that has always been in Copy's back pocket. The willingness to be super aggressive, and Jarvan in LeBlanc, it's not the Lee Sin LeBlanc that has incredible target selection in these potential team fights, but the next best thing, honestly.
And with the buffs that LeBlanc got to make her lane phase a little bit safer and give her more mana that she can actually use. Exactly. So it makes it even that much more dangerous for Copy to play this niche champion that he'll only bust out in very, very specific circumstances. And here is one of them.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be crucial to watch how Copy actually navigates the sides of the fights. It was fun to watch him go for, you know, random bursts and kind of throw out abilities on the Grogs, but this is definitely a champion who knows how to play it much better.
Yeah, and as we load up onto the Rift, it is game 2, do or die for TSM Challengers, while CLG Challengers find themselves in a nice, comfy spot at 1-0 in this best of 3. 1 game away from moving forward in the upper bracket and looking to face off against 100 Thieves if they do so.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Oh yeah, I guess that one has already finished off, right? Dignitas are still waiting for the winner of FlyQuest Challengers versus Immortals Challengers. Reasonable take. Not really sure about Sven Skaren with anti-magic, but kind of makes sense. Thanks, Rally Cry. I appreciate you, you and the halftime shows you guys have put on for us. So, it's been a good time. But
yes,
as we start looking at it, again, the winner of this will play up against 100 Thieves Challengers, like you said, who did go 2-0 against Team Liquid first on the other stream. And Dignitas will play against the winners of teams that are playing on Challengers League. That's how brackets work. Very exciting.
Very, very exciting. Right now, both sides, typical line of scrimmage, typical start for each side. I do like that Kevy, starting up on the red buff on his own side, will be pathing towards the bot lane. And we're talking about how this bot lane could be something that Sven Skaren can look to play around a little bit more in this game. It makes it so that Kevy will, if that were the case, would be able to answer.
Yeah. I mean, it's also a spot where you do notice that Haunter did commit the ward into the topside tri-brush early on, because Jarvan is a character that can go for some of these early ganks. I would actually love it if you got just like a little bit of push from Jenkins, that you were able to push into a lane gank early on from Kevy, just by going directly in. That would be a massive opportunity for them, but already getting pushed back. Option has already disappeared, and instead both junglers taking mirrored paths on the opposite sides of the board. But it is only one of them. So Skaren is the one who has gotten spotted out, whereas Kevy doesn't have a ward on his position.
And looking at the lane states as well, CLG winning out on 2 of the 3. Only top lane. Also getting that advantage over Jenkins while bot lane. There's a level 2 experience lead for Meech and Breezy, escorting more minions there. And same with Copy onto Doxa. Seeing advantages that's kind of expected, especially for that mid lane, the LeBlanc into Silas matchup, something that Copy loves to play and knows how to play both sides of. He's so good on his Silas as well.
Yeah, it's definitely something where Copy is, when we first knew him, we knew him as a very supportive mid laner before really kind of developing the ability to be a strong carry. Yeah, and even on Cloud9, in his first split there during, I think, was it Spring 22? Yeah, a ton of set in particular that we were seeing from this guy in the mid lane. But now, LeBlanc is going to be here, and we do need Copy to beat up on Doxa a little bit in order to really be comfortable with the way that Copy is going to be playing throughout a lot of this series and a lot of the rest of playoffs, because Copy has been one of these players that, you know, has been rather consistently in our discussions for our most valuable prospect. But this might be the time where he's had enough really weak performances, enough really strong performances that it's been harder for us to rank him.
Oh, right there, he was threatening a potential dive on a Doxa. Like, what? Do I look for the solo kill?
If he had Ignite, 100%.
Oh, exactly. Had it been the Ignite, he would have totally gone for it. But he was still contemplating it, how he was posturing.
He thought about it.
Like, oh man, I really want to kill him right now, but I can't because I'll die if I do.
Yeah. You already see that Dox has to commit the teleport already. Comes back with a Ruby Crystal in order to try and withstand some of this early pressure. That's a great look already from Copy. But overall, nice!
Nice side step from Meech again. We talked about this player. We were literally just talking about mid lane, but we talked about this player beforehand with how good this guy is with positioning and his reactions to plays. Like, he saw that coming a mile away. He's like, all right, where do I need to stand? He's probably going to go for the play right here, so I just step forward. Yeah,
and here we go. Spenskaren's coming around the corner.
Nice handshake, though, from Breezy. Will delay the flash hit, the flash away from Meech. It's going to be instead Breezy that they target on to, even with a bailout. It's not going to be enough. It's first blood for Neo.
Bit surprised that Breezy doesn't go for the flash of their own right there.
Okay. I'm like, does Meech just try to go for this by himself?
Yeah. Also a little bit surprising to see up here in the top lane. Hunter has had a fantastic time in both games, building up a pretty significant CS lead up here in the top lane. Already up about a wave and a half at only 5 minutes into the game. Feels as though TSM's lanes have been doing a much better job in this series than we've actually seen them play in the past, right? TSM has been a team where the only really consistently winning lane has been the top side.
Here, they got the kill onto Neo. Does help out a lot, but I like this play. Threatened by Kevy. Flash away, though, for the flag and drag.
Yeah, good flash coming out from Neo. Not going to be missing out on the reaction speed check. That is something that we have credited Meech for quite a bit, but Neo passing it here as well. And Copy, another check-in. Dox has been forced out of lane twice in a row, and you only have one teleport. That's a lot of experience, a lot of gold that has been lost. And Copy coming back to lane with the Oblivion Orb.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Yeah, this is the buff version of the item.
And going up against Silas as well when you're already winning the lane pretty well. It's that much more miserable a time for Doxa, where he's going to just try to farm the best he can underneath the turret, which gives a lot of ample opportunity. Kevy, we saw the dragon taken down, because he's like, all right, mid lane's not going to be a factor. Copy will always have that initial timer to roam around.
Yeah. Copy is definitely very strong as the wave comes back towards him. Breezy is hiding in the wings.
Let's try Q. Both of them hovering around. You'll notice each other and kind of like the Spider-Man point at each other and be like, what are you?
Aaron Lee and Aaron Lee?
Yeah.
Honestly, that was still a really good meme.
That was a great one. I do like that one a lot.
Aaron with an I.
Just that little of a difference. As, Kevy snuck his way into that brush, but Dox does spot him out, even if the ward will now be nullified. At least he knows the information of where Kevy is. All the while, Spenskaren just happily farming up. That successful gank in the bot lane, getting the kill for Neo, has now turned this lane where it looked really difficult for Neo and Dragu to pilot against Meech. Now where they have the advantage that Meech and Breezy had to stay so cautiously just to farm up in case that you have that level 6 tick for Neo and Dragu.
Yeah, you have to be very, very wary of wherever they are at the same time. But here we go. Kevy's hovering around looking for a potential opportunity. So is Spenskaren, actually. Both of them moving, looking around for potential dive opportunities, and Spenskaren's going deep in order to try and come here unnoticed.
Ooh. Oh. He is completely unnoticed as well, but he will recall. Okay. I like this play, but there's just not enough minions bot lane. Look at how few there are. Really look for that dive.
Yeah. A little bit unfortunate as we do see Neo dinging level 6, and Draku probably not far behind, but it is worth noting again that our lanes have been a bit topsy-turvy. This top lane is continuing to go into Hanser, who has been the best top laner that we have had in the entire split, and playing on his most played champion so far in 2023, this Cassante. I mean, it's most people's most played because of how strong it has been for quite a while. Hanser has been one of our most prolific and best Cassantes so far, is beating up Jenkins, who I think a lot of the other top laners that we talked to credit as one of the best laners in the league.
Yeah, a lot of people praise Hanser. He's a good person to kind of test your might against as well, because how great he has been since having taken off last year and then throwing it back up this year and be like, all right, I feel refreshed. I feel like I can make this play. And Garen, unfortunately, started up the Rift Herald. He's spotted out by 3 members of CLG. Nice Cyclone, though, but the Cataclysm make sure they can get the kill first. With the all-out, trading back jungler for jungler. Hunter gonna get a lot of damage onto Jenkins, trying to turn it around, but Shelly might make it really difficult. The flash in, the shield's enough! Hunter flashing out! There's Copy, wants to chase this one down. He uses the distortion away, but Hunter heals up a lot. Change connect, he will fall to Copy, but he is biding a lot of time, allowing Doxa to take the Rift Herald as Hunter continues to fight finally the distortion kill.
And Doxa, I mean, he ends up getting the fees down onto, I think it was Jenkins. That's a little bit of extra HP as they, ooh, handshake.
Okay, handshake did help out a lot. Doxa did get rooted, and an ignite from Breezy could have been dicey for Doxa, but DragQ was there to escort his mid laner to safety.
Yeah, Doxa now also has the Rift Herald. Oh,
okay, quickness. Getting the knock-up as well. The bailout, that was a kill for DragQ? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Copy just goes a little bit far forward. People have just kind of been disrespecting people on opposite teams, and DragQ is like, you can't do that. I'm going to go in, ends up finding the kill right there, and that's going to be a total of 4 kills getting picked up by TSM Challengers this game. There's only 2 for CLG, and it looked so good off the start of this, right? CLG coming through, instantly killing away the junglers so they could potentially turn onto the Rift Herald, but because the Omnivamp from this Cassante, it's so hard to actually find the last hit on him after using all the spells in order to get the initial burst. Even with the damage coming through from Jenkins, just not quite enough damage. The shield is there. And I love this awareness from Doxa, knowing that it's like, hey, oh, missed my jump over the wall. Let's go ahead and finish up the Rift Herald while we wait for Hunter's inevitable demise.
Yeah, you know Hunter's gonna die. Get the objective, and then the play afterwards where Poppy just stepped up a little far forward and DragQ. Surprise, surprise, that base damage with an amp tome that he had in his inventory at the time were enough to pick up that low health bar kill.
As we start looking at how that'll affect the rest of the game, right, the Rift Herald will likely even up a lot of the advantage that Copy got up against Doxa, and Doxa should be able to grab a couple of plates with that, but now looking to move towards the other side of the map, moving down towards the bottom lane. There's a dragon that has spawned, and CLG went for a strong contest last time.
Okay, Doxa finds Copy, gets a big trade back on him, even gets the Mimic out, Blast going away. Flag just to spot out. The Garen's rotated around with the cyclone damage on Kevy as well to flash away to survive. Copy will, at least right now, protect his jungler the best he can, but because he has to recall, Dragon will beat TSM.
Yeah, TSM finds the Dragon, evens that one up, and another early game going in favor of TSM. They did do a pretty good job last game as well of actually winning the a lot of the lanes, finding themselves some good advantages, and Doxa has recouped themselves quite a bit off of the kill and assists that they have picked up. CLG have not been able to use the fact that this Oblivion Orb is so effective early on in the game to really find enough of a lead. Now Kevy, with jungle privilege, he's right on back in the lane.
Back in the lane, Chains connect on with the flag drag as well. Garen scares away Copy and Kevy, because Copy, if he dove in, would have died to the monkey.
Good stuff. Haunter going to be looking to pick up another potential plate here. Jenkins trying to prevent him from moving in. Yeah, it definitely feels as though CLG, like their laning phase, which was something where we were giving them a lot of credit for during the regular season, has kind of been a stumbling block here for TSM. And now, as everybody comes up towards the top side of the map, I wonder if there's an opportunity on Haunter, who is still flashless.
Would be an opportunity to attack, especially with how far pushed up he is, looking for that plate. But for TSM, as you called out, rightfully so, last game they did have a very good early game. Like, it wasn't the most dominating, but they stayed even, if not relatively ahead. In this game, they're doing about the same, but they gotta be careful, because Doxa, playing a little bit with fire, had the flag and drag connected, probably could have been a kill.
Yeah, that's still going to be a flash getting picked up from TSM, and that's also going to be the Rift Herald deployed here for the mid lane as well.
But yeah, he's the one who picked it up after all, so it makes sense. But we do have a potential fight around it. The charge will be there. Copy taken low by the wrong monkey.
But also, look at that. Only a single play getting picked up as the ultimate used up there by Haunter to try and take Jenkins relatively low. Jenkins noms and minion is like, oh, well, that's the kill pressure that I need to be worried about.
Where is it? Because Haunter's doing all this without his mythic. Well, Jenkins had already recalled, teleported to the top lane just to have Jack show.
Yeah. And so, I mean, the game has stalled out, which I think is going to be really good for TSM, actually. They have some very strong scaling, and you're noticing that Copy choosing not to go with like a burst build. He's going for the Leontres in order to make sure that they can take care of some of these tankier members. They get the extra cooldown, but I'm a little bit worried that it's going to prevent them from being the effective assassin a little bit later on.
Neo.
What was that?
I said especially onto Neo.
Yeah. I mean, Neo doesn't have a lot of tools to try and deal with the LeBlanc between the Gale Force, the ultimate, and the cleanse from the chains. But still, I mean, that's going to be a lot of damage that is effectively missing. And if you're going to be building Leandre's LeBlanc as a last pick, go that's why.
As right now, Svenskeren gets found out by Kevy and Copy, forced to use Cyclone to try to get away as the Cataclysm put up, and Svenskeren doing a good job, 1v2. All that damage he has on Kevy, as Kevy uses the flag to drag away, but Neo is getting free gold for it.
That's even more money going over to TSM. What was that engage?
They thought that they could burst down Svenskeren. He was a level behind Kevy, but the Cyclone that canceled Distortion from Copy meant that there wasn't a play to be had anymore, but Kevy really wanted it.
Yeah, and sometimes, like, if you just want something bad enough, sometimes it works, but that's not the case in League of Legends most of the time. As this is going to be continuing to build up a gold lead, about 3,000 in favor of TSM as we're past the 15-minute mark. And so much of this so far has been put up in the top lane, but there's about an equal amount in the bottom lane here where Neo and Dragku just quietly finding these advantages. It hasn't been an opportunity for Meech and Breezy to do much of anything, partly because the one kill was one picked up there on Kevy, and also because the other one was just Breezy kind of forgetting to flash earlier in the game. It feels as though CLG are making a lot of unforced errors in this game, and TSM are capitalizing.
Giving the gold over to Neo as well to put him in that much better a situation from the last game where he was even with Meech, even going into the late stretches of the game. This time, he is the one with the advantages. And we talked about having that heal for CLG, picking up this Renotic Loss. Well, it works well when you're even the marksman, right?
Yeah.
But now, when you have a marksman who's ahead, this Rakan feels like he's that much stronger and doesn't have to worry about leaving Neo out to dry.
And the Jarvan feels that much weaker as well, right? When Jarvan starts falling behind, the champion becomes worse and worse. Yes, there's a lot of melee champions for the Gore Drinker to be useful against, but it feels as the prime time for this character is well and gone. And now CLG, they have to be very good at some of these setups. That was how they won the last game, was they were able to create enough space for Meech to be free hitting the entire time. But there's a lot better dive coming out from TSM. Doxa can now get on top of that as well.
Concert getting another Demolish proc on top lane. Almost taking that one down. This is kind of what we talked about with Hanser and how strong he is in the side. With Cassante, Jenkins just isn't able to do much against him, which gives all this liberty for Svenskeren to play around the bot consistently. And as we talked about the 2 kills picking up for Neo, even if you can call, you call them unforced errors that happened from CLG, regardless, it's still Svenskeren playing around the bot lane. Playing around this one member who actually went to the finals in his Proving Grounds last time on Dignitas Academy. And so giving him all these resources to be the carry. He's looking like the old self, the one that made that run in the winner's bracket last year.
Yeah. Now Copy, he's the only one coming around. It's like a little bit of frustration coming through there because CLG, the rest of the team, not moving at all to try and contest it. That's going to be a second dragon over to TSM, and I don't even think CLG, they don't get any real damage up on the top lane. They maybe cause TSM to lose like 2 waves, but that's a great trade coming out from TSM. They've been much more proactive this game so far, and Neo going to be hitting item 2 well before Meech instead of on pace like they did last game.
And for Copy, one of the difficult things, as someone who likes to play LeBlanc, myself included, when you're relatively even, or at worst, your team is behind, it feels so difficult to actually pilot the champion because your target selection now has been narrowed so much. It's already difficult enough to kill Neo because with Gale Force and having the Feather Storm, that extra bit of kit to keep you safe, you're like, okay, who else do I focus on? I guess I have to focus on a Wukong then, and it's still difficult to kill Wukong with how his build path is, and you can see right there, Kevy, someone that they can fall back onto as LeBlanc. Can't do much with those. Dragku, okay.
Well,
as the blast going away, I guess. But that's going to be the handshake as well. The flash away. Wants to get the battle dance away from the Cataclysm. Drag Q, okay.
Wow, I mean, that's kind of been the difference this game. That's an unforced error coming out from TSM, but the punish is his flash, right? The difference has been so far that whenever CLG are making unforced errors, TSM are getting kills for it, whereas CLG, I mean, they already traded Kevy's flash out. That only turns the unforced error from, you know, a small win for TSM into a neutral situation. So CLG, they really need to start manufacturing situations where they can be more aggressive in these upcoming fights. And you know who the best player in potentially the entire league is for that?
Ooh.
It's Jenkins. That's why he made his bread and butter. He has been so good at finding flanks throughout his career. He's been so good at putting AD carries in uncomfortable positions, but he's doing so from a strength of weakness right now. He doesn't have the goal necessary to do that, so he's going to have to outplay his way into those strong spots.
And if you're trying to do that as Jenkins on Cho'Gath, you're just there to be the beefy boy. You have to have the teammate do all the other work. As the hostile takeover a little bit late. Poppy running down, trying to chase down some members. The turret will survive, but that's a lot wasted by CLG to look for attempted play. As CSM can rinse and repeat with minions, even getting Kevy caught up in the side as he tried to regroup with the team, but the Cyclone made it really difficult. Now they can even re-engage on Jenkins with the quickness, with the battle dance, and getting the knock-up on the Cyclone onto Kevy. The monkey gets him with the right monkey, taking down Kevy, as the rest of CLG, they can't do much to stop TSM.
Yeah, CLG, I mean, they're just not looking for plays that have high likelihoods of success. And TSM, they're punishing for it. They pick up another dragon, and
Doxa didn't get the dash over the wall. It's forcing Haunter back. And look at the damage. It goes golden to survive. All out use onto Jenkins. And what a knock-up from Drag Q and Co. as they turn around what should have been a dicey scenario and get a double kill for Haunter.
What looked like another blunder from TSM is, in fact, something that comes out huge, as you called out. Dragku fighting so many members in that ultimate, in that knock-up, the grand entrance. It feels like an ultimate. Now TSM, they're moving over towards the Baron as well. They're in total control, and Kevy, not known for his steals whatsoever. But here, I mean, Svenskeren has to stick around a little extra time. And the big thing is, because Haunter and Neo are so strong, Copy and Jenkins are kind of cut out of the fight. But when Doxa is pressed to see if they can get over the wall, not able to do so.
We have to put it on pause because 50% on the Baron. Kevy, you might not be known for the Baron steals, but who gives a damn when you could still go for it anyways? You can be a hero by stealing this, but it's been stalled by TSM. Waiting it out. There's Kevy, too little, too late, that he's locked in the pit of his own pit and taken down by Kevy.
CLG, Copy's caught as well. He's going to be able to get out, but so far, TSM, they're just in total control of this one, and it's going to be looking like we are going to have one of our first game threes here, Alex. TSM in so much control. They are 30 seconds away from another Hextech Dragon coming through, and CLG, they're just trying to find whatever money they can. Mage is a full item behind at this point, and so is Kevy. He only got the components for a potential Black Cleaver, whereas Svenskaren's already built it up.
Looking at the gold and how it's allocated, sure, everyone's going to look at Haunter with the 30,000 gold over Jenkins, but really the big story has to be that Neo is the one with all the gold for the team, that he is the one that has a 2,000 gold lead over Meech, who dominated game one. It was off the back of his positioning and his plays that CLG were able to pick that first game up. Now, how the tables have turned against them.
TSM, as they pick up a couple more structures, the gold lead continues to expand. 10,000 gold. They're 23 minutes into the game. Can just back away towards the Dragon after they feel comfortable with their gains that they've already picked up here. TSM, this is one of the big things, is looking for their opportunities to be aggressive. They've typically been very good at punishing plays. They are much better at whiff punishing than they are for going for the actual rushdown part of the gameplay. And now, as they start to try and find some opportunities, they're going to try and cut out multiple members of CLG from defending the structure.
More minions pouring into the bot lane. But mid lane really got to be the focus, because that's where Haunter has got this cannon minion to back him up and take down a structure. All TSMs have to do is kind of wait it out, see if they can catch out members out of position of CLG. They look to try to stop any of these inhibitor turrets from being taken.
And as they start moving forward, you also note that Copy's built up the Void Staff. He's opted for power now. He's gone for the cheap item. They're looking for Svenskeren.
Ooh, the chain's connected on him. Oh no, Copy decided to distortion back because he was afraid of Pisante on the other side. And the all-out onto Kevy! Hauntzer finds the play, the pick they need to start cracking open the defenses of CLG with Doxa stolen hostile takeover. He looks like he's in danger, but DragQ's there to support him. Gets the knockup. They will lose one, but now it's all the fight inside the base. Meech, you gotta be a hero yet again with the Feather Storm to make sure that Neo survives and gets the turret.
That's going to be an inhibitor going down. Are they going to be able to do anything more? Will they stick around for longer? Jenkins has no ultimate. There's no threat of burst coming through from CLG. That's going to be a clean inhibitor already picked up by TSM. They're going to be able to back away. And CLG try and find something back. If they can pick up this dragon potentially, that'll give them an opportunity to slow down some of the scaling. There's only time that they're going to be picking up. And Kevy using the smite on the blue buff makes it so much more difficult for them to actually play for this dragon.
They have Hextech gates if they wanted to send Jenkins to look for the flank. There's low health bars, but Kevy has to flag and drag away. They see the TP. Well, I don't even think they see the TP from Doxa. So they just have to play cautiously. That's going to be the TP from Copy. The dragon started up by CLG as Copy tried to find out Svenskeren, and Hauntzer noticed them on the other side. Taking low, but look at you, like you said, Jenkins with no mana. He's got enough for a rupture, and that's about it. Copy continues to try to dance around the battlefield, get into the back line with the chains on to DragQ, but look, it's Svenskeren into the back line. He is numbed upon, but it's TSM who utilizes death for success onto Kevy in the pit. He is gonna fall with one more auto attack out of Neo, or is he? All the while, Hauntzer getting the attention of Meech, as Meech got the bailout, but he cannot turn it around, and will be shut down.
TSM, the one with members still left alive around this dragon. Breezy looking for something cheeky around the corner. There's no smite here.
You know what, Breezy? I'll clap to you and your death as it will fall soon. Hauntzer is on the hunt. You attempted, you looked for the play, but TSM are here to win.
TSM looking to take us to a game 5 of the day as CLG, like their inhibitor turrets, their Nexus turrets are being knocked upon by super minions. The big thing here, right, as we start looking at this is how spread out by going on one of the flankers, TSM prevents CLG's battle lines from making any sense as Jenkins still looks to come around for the rest of the team, and even though he gets the nom here onto Svenskeren, there's nothing left. Copy has to leave. Meech and Breezy are all on their lonesome, and they cannot support any fight because the pressure that Hauntzer has put on this back line. By the time it actually breaks out, like Breach gets close to finding some cool kills. He gets one onto Neo, but after that, there's just not enough damage left in the world to kill the rest of TSM.
It sucks. I would have made an argument had he killed DragQ. There could have actually been a scenario where he fights back and it's this crazy play from each. But sadly, it wasn't close enough. There was enough health in the tank for DragQ. If it's more than 1 HP, you have enough to fight.
We'll see. TSM, they now need to close this one out. They're up a massive amount of gold. Hauntzer goes in.
And he goes all out onto Jenkins as well. Getting the flash is Copy, the next target with the side clone. He distortion doubled up away, but he's barely alive. Stolen off the hostile takeover for Doxas. The rest of the team can reset. Dragon Baron is available.
They're going to be backing away. CLG have no way to get over there whatsoever. TSM have been a master this game at choking out CLG from the game. And again, I have to say, the way that Neo has come through, having another strong veteran voice to play with. Breezy.
Okay, Breezy. That's a big person to lose. The hostile takeover is gone. It's Kevy. He's been marked by Hauntzer. No even attempt at a steal because he can't get anywhere near the Baron pit. In fact, he is chased away by Hauntzer.
Yeah, this has definitely been a series where it feels as though Copy has not necessarily been playing it to its full potential. Doxa, I feel, has actually been more impactful in this game and arguably even in the first. So now, TSM, they're looking to potentially knock this one down. They're looking for this inhibitor, and with Breezy still dead for 5 more seconds, that's another inhibitor going down.
Even look at how Hauntzer is positioning, allowing DragQ with the knockup combo onto CLG.
TSM, even up the series, we're going to our Game 3. Alex, I know you're looking forward to this one. TSM taking it down in CLG. The question is going to be, are we going to get Scrim God CLG, or are we going to get more of all of these unforced errors from them as we go towards our last game of the day? CLG, they really, really need to win this one if they want to prove that they are going to be one of our top contenders to actually win this whole thing.
But you gotta give praise to TSM Challengers, a team that has had their own struggles throughout the split. Yet here they are, Game 3 in the upper bracket, want to make sure they can hold on to the double elimination. We're going to toss it to a break, and we do, in fact, have a third time show coming up your way. So make sure you stay tuned.